myself, I'm Coach Horace, and on the other end, I got my partner, SVC Donny Whitton, and we're here to talk about the VA Mission Act. Um, you got anything on that, Donny,
Yeah, let's
or introduction, or anything you want to say up front?
first of all, I'd just like to say I'm happy to be here with my man Horace. Always a pleasure to do this with you, sir. Always
So,
brings such a positive attitude. Um, First off, let's while we're introducing ourselves, if you would sound off with who you are, where you are, branch of service, give us a hello and a shout out. So I'm Donny Whitton. A little bit about me. I started off in higher education, and I have been doing VA claims of some sort or another for about 8 years, and I'm a U.S. Army veteran, combat veteran. I was originally a VA Claims Insider customer, coach, now senior veteran coach. I love my job. I love it every day. I get to work with great people like Horace and work with veterans out there, making life changes, getting the VA disability ratings that you deserve. Honored to serve with and for you guys.
yeah, and I'm Coach Horace here at VACI, and I just love helping veterans. I'm an Army veteran myself. Um, I served during 82 to 86. My drill sergeants were actually Vietnam veterans back in the day. So, I had it hard in basic at Fort Leonard Wood, Missouri back in the day. But I've been, now I'm 100% permanent and total. But I started my journey in 2013, filing my first claim and getting denied 3-4 times. Then over a period of time, I had my first back surgery in June of 2016. And then 2 weeks later, I had my second back surgery because they found another cracked vertebrae. And during this time, the VA was still denying that my back was connected to my military service, even though it was in my service records almost verbatim what I told some sick call doctor back in 84, 85. I repeated the same thing to my surgeon in 2016. But the VA kept denying those claims, and I just didn't give up. And that's what we talk about a lot here. Claim is never over until you give up. And finally, they connected me for 20% in 2019. So it was a 5-6 year journey to get there. But that 20% represented me being on the playing field at that point, and I was able to get an increase up to 70% within 30 days. And then I became a client of VACI because I felt like I went as far as I could go. And within 50, I believe it was 52 or 53 days, December 31st, 2019, New Year's Eve, checked the benefits, and I was at 100% permanent in total. So it was a long journey, but I didn't give up, and now here I sit. So take a lot of pride in helping other veterans get the compensation they deserve also. So that's me.
As Coach Horace said, the VA launched some new healthcare options under the VA Mission Act. Brian Jordan, OIF veteran.
All right.
Welcome, brother. Denver, Colorado. Marine, 66 to 76. Oh, there's Curtis. Wow. There's my dude. What's up, Curtis?
Curtis, 1968 Army. Ooh. Jermaine Odom. All right.
Jermaine's just south of me. I'm in Kansas City. Horace is in Dallas.
Yeah, I'm in Big D. Still not a Cowboy fan, though.
I don't blame you. Jeez.
What's up, brother?
That's a long time.
Hey, Lane. 81 to 82. I went in 82 myself.
I was born in 80.
Christian, we see you. Philip Jack. Oh, thank you for your service, brother.
There we go.
Vietnam, Japan.
Atsugi, Japan, living the dream. I'd say so.
Yeah.
Jessica, thank you for your service. Army, 7 to 12. North Kakalaki.
North Carolina. All right, guys. Daniel Smith. I see you, brother. Shantira Perry, just north of me in Sherman. All right. Dexter McCauley, 81 to 92 Army. I went in 82 and did my 4 years and got out, bro. Shantira, Navy.
Thomas.
Our president will be happy to hear that.
Met the goal.
All right, Vietnam vet.
There you go, Ron.
All right, Ron. To 100% P&T after 52 years.
Wow.
Wow. Wow. Wow. Well, congratulations, brother. Congratulations. Kendra. All right.
So the VA launched the Mission Act, stands for Maintaining Internal Systems and Strengthening Integrated Outside Networks Act.
I was gonna make that a trivia question.
Yeah, you know what I think they did there, Horace? I think they said, hey, we want to call this the Mission Act. Can we squeeze an acronym into this? And
right.
And they got a bunch of generals around the table who, are acronym masters and slam some words together to come up with the Mission Act.
Just Mission Act would have been all right. Now you got to figure out an acronym.
Right.
But yeah, the acronym, when you think about it, it does kind of make sense. Maintaining integrated systems, right off the bat, basically just maintaining and hopefully making better the systems that's already in place. The systems that they've been using. Go ahead.
Yeah. Hey, I'm really excited about the number of clients back here that VA Claims Insiders got to 100%, and they're still coming back to watch and participate and learn and gain knowledge.
Oh, yeah.
And share it with their brothers and sisters. And that it encourages me and other veterans to continue to seek the rating they deserve. If we could throw up the link real quick to show veterans where they can go to get started with this if they like, so they have that while we're going over this post.
Yeah.
So the Mission Act, basically what they did is they took a look at how they can strengthen our internal systems and maintain what they have there, and then get better at integrating with our outside networks. And by networks, they mean community networks of doctors and providing service and care to our veterans. And they did that by a number of ways. They redid the aid and attendance, the process for seeking aid and attendance, and they changed the criteria necessary to get aid and attendance. And then the community care, they changed some of the things involved with eligibility for community care, and it allows them to recruit and retain clinics and clinicians, authorize the anywhere to anywhere telehealth across state lines, empowers veterans to increase access to community care, and it establishes new urgent care benefits that the eligible veterans can access through VA's network of urgent care providers in the community. So that's new, right? So that now you can, instead of having to go to the emergency room or find a VA and then you can get prior establishment for urgent care areas to use. So if you have something that maybe isn't necessarily an emergency room visit, but is an urgent care visit, we can now do that. And that does not have to be done necessarily at the VA. Yeah. So that's a big deal.
Yeah, that's a great benefit, Donny. I mean, myself, I live about 35 to 40 miles from the nearest VA hospital here. So, I mean, if I, had an accident and broke my arm or something like that, that would be a long car ride. But, being that I can possibly go to community care right here, within a couple of miles of my house, that's a huge, huge benefit. So, the VA isn't always in an adversarial role with us. I know with disability, we talk about that a lot, but that some of the changes they made and with this Mission Act and community care is actually a great, great benefit for us veterans out here, and one that you should really look into taking advantage of.
Yeah, there's three main components of the VA. There's the VBA, the Veterans Benefit Administration, and that's where we handle claims for disability, education, stuff like that. They handle the claims processes. Then there's the VHA, the Veterans Health Administration, and they handle healthcare, mental health, all of that stuff. And then there's the VRA, the Veterans Research Administration. They handle all the research and stuff like that. And they all are integrated and work seamlessly together. No, might as well three different companies with barriers and firewalls between each. They do not, one hand does not know what the other's doing, and they don't seem to correspond or work well with each other. And so the Mission Act really falls under the VHA portion. And that comes into play significantly because when you seek care through the Mission Act or you apply for aid and attendance or any number of those things, those claims are going to be handled by the VHA side of things as opposed to the VBA side of things. And that can be a good thing because say you have the rating that you want to be, that you deserve, you're done, this is where you should be, and you don't want to reopen that, but you're afraid to use the VA because you're afraid they're going to reevaluate your claims. Well, you can go and use any of the components of the Mission Act, which you have to apply for, but that application goes through the VHA and not the VBA. So you don't have to worry about impacting your rating simply for seeking care through one of these. Your rating is not going to get reevaluated just because you're applying for a veteran benefit through the VHA. You're safe there.
But that's a great point. We talk to veterans every day here at VA Claims Insider, and a question I get, and I know you get, Donnie, and a lot of the coaches get is, will this, whatever their situation is, impact my rating that I already have? And the Mission Act is not designed to maybe put the rating that you have in jeopardy or anything like that. It's just actually designed to strengthen the care that you're able to receive by giving you access to not just the VA, but the community as your point of care in some cases. So never be afraid, back to Donnie's point, to seek care thinking that you're going to lose anything as far as rating, because you're not. You don't have to worry about that. You're seeking care for yourself.
And sometimes you have a hard time determining, if I seek out this benefit, who's going to process that? Is it going to impact my disability claims? Is it going to be through the VHA? And one of the benefits of working with VACI is, we have a very knowledgeable staff that can help you determine that and whether you should or should not file a claim or seek a benefit necessarily, or point you in the right direction. And even if you're just wondering if we're the service you have, you can reach out for a free strategy call. We have a link for that. You can sign up and get a chance to speak with someone to see if we might have some information that'll help you out. And sometimes that strategy call is all you need to figure out, if what you need to do next and go from there. Now, it is really important while we're talking about disability claims to get medical help. You need medical evidence.
Yes.
And the Mission Act is going to provide us with more opportunity to get help, which is and seek medical treatment and therapy and things like that. And that's going to result in medical evidence, which you need for your claim, right? So some of the things that have changed about the community care under the Mission Act is eligibility. And some of those things are drive times. If the VA cannot provide care within certain designated access standards, you might be able to elect to use the Community Care Act. So if you have a 30-minute average drive time for primary care, mental health, and non-institutional extended care services, then you can qualify for community care. Thomas C. Helm, I'm getting the runaround for Community Care Act. Thomas, that's sort of a vague statement, but what I would suggest is communicating with them through secure messaging. So secure messages through My Health eVet become part of your mental health, or not your mental, your medical record, which you can download through the Blue Button report. And it documents your correspondence with them so that if you are getting the runaround, then you leave a paper trail. And you can use that paper trail to then follow up, take that to another resource and say, hey, I'm getting the runaround here from my VA primary care on the Community Care Act, and I want resolve. And here is our correspondence.
Good point, Donnie. Good point. I refer so many veterans to My Health eVet, to that secure messaging option, because us as veterans, a lot of times we don't know what to do and none of that, but we can take minimum type of steps that turns into a huge step in the process, meaning something as secure as logging into your My Health eVet account, hitting that secure messaging feature and typing in a message to your primary care doctor. That becomes part of your VA medical records. And if you're wanting a sleep study, or you're wanting, like I did it here recently for an MRI, and getting that scheduled. All of that just becomes part of my Blue Button report, my medical record here. So I'm continually building that medical evidence, even if it's just typing in a secure messaging. And that's something you don't need a doctor to do. Just go to My Health eVet and type in what you need. And again, this disability process is all about medical evidence. If you don't have medical evidence, it doesn't exist to the VA. So that's an easy way for you to start building a little bit of a paper trail leading up to some type of condition that you're wanting to claim, or you're talking about filing for. But leading also up to that, following up on what Coach Donny said, I want to talk about appointment wait time at a specific VA medical facility. And I didn't know this before I actually started doing a little bit of reading for this live here, but this is important. 20 days from the date of request for primary care, mental health care, and non-institutional extended care services, unless the veteran agrees to a later date in consultation with his or her VA healthcare provider. Meaning that, I can call for an appointment here at my local VA, and it's 4 to 5 months out. This says 20 days from the date of request, unless I agree to a later date. So I've just been in the habit of going to the desk and they say, well, your next appointment is such and such out, normally 4 to 5 months. And I say, okay, well, at that moment, I've agreed to a later date. But this regulation here states that they should see you within 20 days of the date of your request to see your primary care physician. Or mental health care provider and non-institutional extended care services. Another thing is for specialty care, 28 days for specialty care from the date of request, unless you, the veteran, agree to a later date in consultation with his or her VA healthcare provider. I just think those are two huge points, being that I'm used to waiting months and months and months to speak with my doctor at the VA, when now it says it should only be like 20 days. Can you elaborate on that a little bit more, Coach?
Yeah, I mean, that's great information. They can't do that to you now in the Community Care Act unless they have your consent. They don't tell you that, though. They kind of slide it under the table like a used car salesman.
Yeah.
You know? Like, oh, this is what you're going to get. Well, you have options there. They just don't want you to know you have options.
Right.
And you're entitled to timely medical service. And so that's why it's that way. But you have to be the custodian of your records. And that's why at VA Claims Insiders, we strive on education. You know, it's not just you sign up and then we take everything and do everything for you. No, we educate the client, and that's important because you have to know what you're entitled to, what you can demand for your benefits and your service. And I think along the lines, we had a question from David Alderman about where can you find your medical records from the military? That's a good question. And again, that's one of those things that we like to educate our clients on as part of our process. One, do you need those records? You don't want to spend a lot of time and effort chasing down records that you may or may not need for a claim. So you need to evaluate whether those records are, one, necessary, and then two, relevant. And there are a number of places you can go to seek records. The National Archives, TRICARE Online, there's a whole bunch of them. And that's where working with a coach is really important because he can help you figure out if you need those records. I've never really held up a claims process pending records, right? There's usually something you can do between now and then to get moving along in the process. And, so you want to speak to a coach, and there's the link again, to determine if you need those records. If you do need those records, where to go and get them, and what you can do to improve your position while you're waiting on records, if those are absolutely necessary. And a lot of times, old records aren't. A lot of times it comes back to that current diagnosis and nexus, and that coach there can get you referred to vetted medical professionals and determine whether or not you have everything you need and what to go and get if you don't. So that is Coach Horace said, 20 days for primary care, mental health care, and non-institutional extended care services, unless the veteran agrees to a later date in consultation with their VA healthcare provider. Super important. We'll probably say that several times throughout this because you guys need to know that. You don't have to agree to 20 days. 28 days for specialty care from the date of request, unless the veteran agrees to a date in consultation with their VA healthcare provider. So 20 days for everything but specialty care, 28 days. If you don't agree to that, they got to get you to community care. Also, if you have a 30-minute average drive time for primary care, mental health, and non-institutional extended care services, 60-minute average drive time for specialty care, right? So 30 minutes, 60 minutes, 20 and 28. Those are very important days.
Yeah, yeah, and
For 20.
also with that drive time, don't forget to go by the travel office and get your travel pay. Sign up for that. Once you make that drive. But going back to that 20 and 28 days, I I know, and I'm not going to name my VA, but I think I said where I was. But um, sometimes, not everybody, but sometimes there's a little bit of an attitude, maybe with the people that man the counter of my clinic um, in the big VA hospital here. And if they're not up on this regulation, I imagine it's going to be a fight for me to stand there and demand to see my PCP within the next 20 days or my mental health professional. Um, so you may have to educate them on this regulation here also, and that's why it's so important for you to be read up on everything. All I did was Google the VA Mission Act and got all of this information. So here at VA Claims Insider, like Coach Donny said, we can't do anything for you. We're gonna push you to be the king of your kingdom. This is your claim. Take ownership of your claim and do the things that's necessary to educate yourself. I mean, we're going to throw all kinds of little things at you, like these nuggets we're dropping now with the 20 and 28 days, because that's what we do. He touched on a good point. We're an education company, and we want to make sure you're educated, but you got to keep an open mind about this process, because there are constant changes. There's always something new to read, something new to learn, something new to consider in filing your claim or applying for community care or even talking to the people that work at the VA about something that you've learned that they may not be trained up on yet. I mean, that may be another battle you have to face. So, we teach our veterans to be assertive in their process, because sometimes you have to advocate for yourself. Where where training it may be an issue on their end. You may have to advocate for yourself and have them look it up. Because to me, this 20-day and this 28-day thing is huge. Being someone that's just used to agreeing to wait 3, 4, 5 months for an appointment.
Matt Mooney says 28 days from the date of request. But what do you do when they don't even reach out to you until 4 to 6 weeks later after your request? Matt, use the secure messaging portal. We said that before. They don't have 20 to 28 days to return your call from the secure messaging portal. They have to respond to you, I believe, within 24 or 48 hours. There you go, Curtis. It's the greatest advice to vets. Start to verify your issues. Yes, sir. And then you get denied, and as soon as they can see you is in 6 to 8 weeks. So demand the community care if they won't work with you. Every VA has a veteran advocate. Go and talk to your veteran advocate.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have to take no for an answer. And when they deny you, they have to deny you in writing. If they don't deny you in writing, then they can get in trouble, because they have to give you the ability to use the formal appeals process for any denial. That doesn't matter if it's a veteran health service, a veteran's benefit service. They have to deny you in writing. Voc rehab. A voc rehab counselor can get in big trouble if they tell you no and they don't deny you in writing. That's them taking your earned benefits that you deserve into their own hands without giving you the ability to plead your case. And they can't do that. You have the right to appeal any decision you don't agree with. So reach out and talk to that veterans advocate if that's happening. You know,
And for all you ladies and gents out there that may not be may not have a coach yet with VA Claims Insider, um, this is just a snippet of some of the education that you would get. Sign up for the free strategy session. It's no risk to that. That there's the link posted there, and you'll get, to speak with the coach like myself or Coach Donny, and there are, I don't know, Coach Donny, how many coaches do we have? 35, 40 coaches, something like that. Um, all with varying degrees of experience and knowledge and everything. So you don't just get one coach, you get a whole round table of coaches. And if there's an issue that we all need to come together and talk about, we do. But you can see that Coach Donny is a wealth of knowledge. I love working with him. I love listening to anything he have to say. But we also have, several other coaches that are like that. So you don't have to navigate these waters alone anymore. We know how frustrating that could be. I just spoke with one of my veterans this morning that's ready to give up, and I'm trying to talk her in. Let's keep the fight going. The only way that your claim ends is when you give up. And now you got somebody on your team who has the knowledge, who can help you come up with the specific strategy. There's no reason to give up anymore. Most of us have been fighting for years anyway. Well, what's a few more months? Like I say, I condensed the 5 months I took to get to 70%. I'm sorry, 5 years to get to 70%, and then got to 100 in under 55 days. So if you're out there by yourself trying to figure it out, let us help you figure it out. We can put our heads together and we can come up with something, and we can get you moving in the right direction. And I just wanted to put that out there. I hate to see veterans struggling due to lack of information, because now there's really no excuse.
So when else can I get the Community Care Act? One, if the veteran needs a service not available at the VA medical facility. So if they just flat out don't have the service you need, you can demand the Community Care Act. If you live in a state or territory that does not have full access or full service VA medical facility, so Alaska, Hawaii, New Hampshire, or a territory, Guam, American Samoa, Northern Mariana Islands, or the U.S. Virgin Islands, you can get that access. If you are grandfathered in under the old provisions, then you still get that access. And here's another really good one. If it is in the veteran's best medical interest. That's sort of subjective, but that gives you some wiggle room. If you can prove it's in your best medical interest, then you can get that. So like say you have a certain type of ovarian cancer and your VA oncologist is not experienced in treating that cancer, and someone else in the community is, then you can go out and get that community care. And that's really important also. If a VA service line does not meet certain quality standards, that's important also. If you are not getting quality service, then you can go out and receive community care.
Yeah.
Urology is 9 weeks out at the VA. Requested community care. Crickets. I'm in pain. Now what? So again, Thomas, can consult with them using secure messaging. Contact your veteran advocate at the hospital, and go from there. They have to give you some sort of answer for you to work with. Speak to that veteran advocate at the hospital. That is their job, to make those healthcare providers at that hospital respond to you. If you get a no, then you can appeal that no, but they have to give you an answer.
Yeah.
Ricky says, glad you made that statement, Coach Donny. I did the secure messaging for my clothing allowance, and I still haven't heard back from them in regards to the once a year clothing allowance. Any ideas on what I should do now? If you haven't heard back from them at all, I would call them and find out where that claim is in the process, so you know what appropriate action to take. If you've heard nothing, then you don't even know if you haven't confirmed if they've received it. It could be any number of things. So you need to touch base with somebody, make sure they've received your claim, where it's at, and what's going on. I'm receiving community care for my breast cancer. VA sends me to the El Paso Oncology Cancer Treatment Center. That's great. That is great.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah.
Dennis Omenson, you talk about vet advocate there, like the media and the Democrats, one and the same. No help. It's like the phone ringing in an empty office. I am not sure what media or Democrats have to do with the vet advocate, but if you are saying that you cannot communicate with your vet advocate, I would go there in person, use secure messaging. If they're not part of your secure messaging channel, you can call the VA and have the vet advocate added to your secure messaging options. I wouldn't simply just pick up a phone call and pick up the phone and call it a day. I know it's 2021, but sometimes we still have to go places. I always try to physically show up when I can with the VA. Can you still get travel pay when you go through community care instead of the VA? I get allergy shots 45 minutes away from home weekly. So anytime you meet the travel requirements for travel pay, you can get those standards.
Yeah. Good question.
Who do we need to contact when community care referral is delayed? Again, I would reach out to your veterans advocate. They have a job there at the hospital for a reason. They're there to help navigate those resources. So how do you identify a community care provider? So veterans can either choose their preferred community care provider, or a VA staff member can help you select one. The selected community provider must be part of the VA's network. It is usually easier for the veteran to ask the VA to help them identify a provider in the community or as close as possible. So that network is to help identify that network. That's the TRICARE network. So if they're part of that TRICARE network, then they are part of the community care network that you can use. And that's the easiest way to identify those providers.
That's good information.
I receive community care, but they get screwed over by the VA. My care provider doesn't get paid. The VA claims they didn't send records. My provider sent them. I sent them. And they still do not get paid. Yeah, I would take a hand copy of your records to the records department at your local VA and deliver those there. And then have someone sign a receipt of receiving those, saying they got your records.
Yeah. Remember, guys and ladies, in your healthcare, especially in dealing with the VA, you got to be assertive, and sometimes you have to take the extra step. Yeah, I agree. You shouldn't have to, but we all know how the VA operates. One department, as Coach Donny pointed out earlier, doesn't necessarily communicate with the other in the way that we think they should anyway. So you got to take the bull by the horns when it comes to the VA and just remain assertive. And when you see something is not happening, you got to go the extra distance to make sure that it happens and not wait on them, because that could be forever, and in the process cause you all kinds of aggravation and frustration. So just be ready to take control of that process.
That's really something that we try to teach our clients throughout the coaching process too.
Yeah.
Is when to take no for an answer and when to not take no for an answer. Yeah. And a lot of times the reason veterans are not getting the service they need, the answers they need, or the feedback or response they need is because they're not asking the right question. They're not speaking the right language.
Mm-hmm.
It's really hard for veterans to ask for something when they don't know the language to speak, right? The VA has its own VA language.
Yes.
And the way that certain terms or phrases apply to the VA, a lot of veterans just flat out don't understand those terms or phrases. And if I'm saying potato, but I mean apple, I'm going to end up with a potato.
Right.
And so when we're helping with the disability process and that education, along with that goes oftentimes helping clients get the care they need. They go hand in hand with your claims process, and coaches learn that VA language so that we can coach clients to say the proper terms to get the proper care and answers they deserve. And then ultimately that care results in the medical evidence they need to win claims. Claims are won and lost with medical evidence. So if you're interested in getting that help, reach out on that website and we'll get you hooked up with a coach. We'll get you saying the right things and doing the right things, calling the right numbers, talking to the right people to get you some care, help you communicate with your providers better, and ultimately get the rating that you deserve. So one of the important things to remember is once you are sent out into the community for care, you'll have a referral. The provider should have that referral. Now, that is not an invitation to infinite care by that provider. So before you make follow-up appointments for additional care, you need to make sure that the VA has authorized that additional care. If the VA has not authorized that additional care, it is possible that you could potentially wind up with a medical bill that you didn't anticipate.
Yeah.
So you'd really need to make sure that the VA, you're not getting more care than the VA is authorized. And that's done simply by asking. And just because the VA has not authorized it does not mean they will not authorize it. But, you have to be a good custodian of your benefits, of your records, and of your finances and say, hey, did the VA authorize this additional appointment? They can look and see. And no, they didn't. Well, what do we got to do to get that authorized? Mm-hmm. So if the doctor's requiring additional medical help, medical treatment, get those follow-on appointments authorized, and that will keep them from hitting you in that pocketbook.
Yeah, for sure. It's just a matter of crossing your T's and dotting your I's. We all know we got to do that with the VA. So just don't forget that, because you don't want to end up with some unexpected huge bill at the end of this process. Make sure you get that authorization up front first. But then if you don't, as Coach said, all is not lost. In some cases, you can apply for that authorization after the fact.
Who do you call to get a VA advocate? So there's a VA advocate at every VA hospital, Marcus. I wouldn't call. I would go talk to the VA, go in the hospital and say, where is your VA advocate located? And they should be able to direct you to that person. They have a patient advocacy program. Even the website says if you need help, go and talk to the patient advocate at your VA medical center. They are familiar with the rights and responsibilities and the measures to take to keep your providers in line. They are the liaison between you and the provider and the bureaucracy, which is the VA Healthcare Administration. They're not really there for benefits, they're not there for disability benefits, but they're there to help you communicate with your providers, demand things from your providers, and get that help. So if you get a prescription from the community for medication, because you have community care does not mean that you can run over to CVS and have them fill those meds. No, that prescription is usually going to be filled by the nearest VA pharmacy, and that's good, right? Because
Yeah.
VA pharmacy. I've had good experiences with the pharmacy in regards to the amount of money they charge me, which has been $0 over however many years. I've not paid for any prescriptions, whereas normal insurance you might have to do that. So take it to the VA, get that filled, and go from there.
Yeah, and another thing I like about the VA pharmacy is I actually refill my prescriptions on my Healthy Vet. I go in there and put in prescription refill, easy and simple. Boom. A few days later, it shows up at my door. Can't ask for anything better than that. So, and like you, Coach Donny, I'm not paying for anything at this point. So, it's definitely worth it and easy, and that's what we all want right now. Something you don't have to figure out. You can just go to My Healthy Vet. It's actually a great resource website. If you don't have an account on My Healthy Vet, you can always create an account, or better yet, get with a coach here, and we will walk you through how to set up an account at My Healthy Vet and start putting together some of these things, connecting some of the dots that Coach Donny and I have talked about this afternoon.
One last piece of information on this that's important because it can affect you financially is when you are requesting community care, if it is for a non-service connected condition, it is possible that you will have a copay out there in that community. Whereas if it's service connected condition, you will not. For example, I am sent out into the community for sleep apnea and it's not service connected. They give me, treatment out there, a sleep test, sleep study, whatever, on the community. That might result in a copay. But say I go out in the community and, for PTSD therapy, and that is service connected. That will not result in a copay. So service connected disabilities are always completely covered if you're doing it within a VA network with VA permission. But but non-service connected disabilities may not be. Those may result in a financial burden to the veteran, even if they are covered under the Community Care Act. They might result in additional pays. So you want to keep that in mind. Now we're coming up on an hour. I really want to thank everyone for coming out today. A quick reminder that with VA Claims Insiders, you're not alone in this process. We use a vetted method called STEM, Strategy, Education, and Medical Evidence. A coach will help you develop a solid strategy using kinetic chain theory and past claims decisions to help you strategically place your claims process in a order that makes sense and it has a high likelihood of success. We will educate you in the process. We will let you know the rating criteria necessary for filing your claims and getting rated at the rating you deserve. And lastly, we'll help you seek medical evidence through the appropriate resources, whether that be the VA, a private provider, or vetted independent medical professionals, and a referral network that is trained at writing nexus letters and things like that. Mm-hmm. So if you want an experienced coach, an advocate, and a companion to assist you through this process, please reach out to VA Claims Insiders at that website. Or if you just like the sound of Horace's voice because it soothing and lulls you and calms you, then you may sign up just to hear his voice. I have personally started changing my nap time to 12 p.m. and 7 p.m. when we have our community classes. That way, if Horace is teaching it, he can talk me to sleep and
whatever.
Just hearing the sound of Horace's voice, very melodic.
Well, glad to know I had that calming effect on you, sir. Yeah, but for real, man, if you don't have a coach, go to the website, look at the introduction video that the owner of the company, Brian Reese, who's a disabled veteran himself, been through the process, You're not talking about some guy who just started a business and learned along the way. No, no. He's a disabled veteran just like us. He saw a problem in his own experience where filing for disability, didn't know where to go, what to do, and all of that. Started a company. Here we are, what, 5 years later, I believe. And over that time, we've streamlined the system. We got the knowledge, the experience on board now to help you. Are we successful 100% of the time? Well, if you, the veteran, don't give up, we will be. But we have a 91% success rate, which means 9 out of 10 times. And even at that one time that we don't, there's still other avenues that we can take you down to help you get that claim or keep that claim alive and put you in the best position to ultimately win that claim. So again, it's a never-ending process as long as you don't stop the process. And that's what we're here to help you with as coaches. You know, if I end up being your coach, I won't let you quit. So you may not want me, but and I'm sure Coach Donny and the others feel the same way. But it's all out of love. Ladies and gents, we're here to help. We're your brothers and sisters. We like to say welcome home when you come to VACI, because you've been out there flapping in the wind and you finally come to a place that understands where you are and what you've been through, and we're here to help you 100%. So, you know, go to the website and check it out.
Chintera says Travis Odom is awesome. Yeah. Pro tip for Travis Odom: don't put him on speakerphone.
Oh, that's my man.
Don't put him on speakerphone unless like you have your glasses and windows taped down, because his voice is worse than thunder. He'll shake it up. Hey everybody. Hey Horace, I appreciate it, brother. I love you.
Hey man, love you too, bro.
Thanks to all you insiders for showing up. And if you're not an insider yet, become one. We're here to help.
Yes, yes. Take care, everybody.